Stop right there. You are looking at the exact 15 seconds that broke Congress. This isn't just political bickering. This is Speaker Mike Johnson totally losing his mind on the House floor, trying to shout her down and failing miserably. Take a good look at this man's face. He's red. He's furious. He thought he could use his gavel and his position to silence a freshman member. He thought wrong. That right there is Representative Jasmine Crockett. She didn't just clap back. She delivered a constitutional slam that put the speaker straight in the political hot seat. This isn't just about a heated debate. This is the moment Congress flipped. Everyone in that room, from the senior Democrats to the backbench Republicans, saw the speaker's authority crumble under the weight of one single rule. For months, Mike Johnson has been bending the rules, using procedural stunts to ram his agenda through. He thought his control over the House was airtight. He thought nobody had the receipts. But Crockett came prepared, and she just served him a reality check he will never recover from. This isn't just a tough day for the speaker. This is a career-defining catastrophe. He let his temper get the best of him, and she used his own book of rules to end the rant instantly. The tension in that room was so thick you could taste it. But to truly understand why the speaker completely lost it and why this is so much bigger than one bad day, you gotta see the setup. This whole mess was engineered by a shady move from the GOP leadership, a move that was calculated, ruthless, and ultimately a total blunder. Next, we're unpacking the shady GOP maneuver that started this whole mess and the secret rule Crockett was holding in her back pocket. You definitely need to know the exact low-blow insult Johnson used right before she gave him the ultimate constitutional shutdown. Stick around. You don't want to miss the real tea on this one. That shady maneuver we talked about? It wasn't just a simple mistake. This whole mess was a calculated effort by Speaker Johnson and the GOP leadership to control the narrative. For weeks, they had been using what insiders call procedural stunts. Things like denying Democrats the ability to introduce amendments, selectively cutting off microphones, and constantly bending the rules of the House to push through their own extreme agenda. Johnson had mastered the art of technical tyranny. He was using his position as Speaker not to keep order, but to silence dissent. He ran the House like his own personal club, assuming that the majority would just fall in line and the minority couldn't touch him. He was so confident in his power grab that he never imagined a freshman representative, someone who was supposed to just sit down and shut up, would actually know the rules better than him. But here's the real tea. Representative Crockett wasn't going in blind. While Johnson was busy using his gavel to enforce chaos, Crockett was doing her homework. She wasn't just mad, she was prepared. She had been collecting receipts, a documented, undeniable list of every violation the speaker had committed. And the nuclear option she had in her hand? It was rooted in a rule that's almost never used against a speaker. House Rule 17, Clause 9. This is the secret weapon, the parliamentary equivalent of a full-stop emergency brake. It allows any member, even a freshman, to demand an official ruling on the conduct of the person in the speaker chair. Johnson thought he was the ultimate authority, but this rule meant that Crockett could challenge his entire performance, his behavior, his bias, his honesty, right there on the floor. Johnson walked into that hearing with an airtight ego, believing he had the power to intimidate her. He planned to use his seniority, his title, and his sheer volume to overwhelm Crockett. He thought he could dismiss her challenge with a quick gavel bang and a dismissive wave. He thought he could get away with his shady tactics one more time. He didn't know Crockett was waiting for that exact moment to unleash the full force of her preparation. This wasn't just political strategy. This was a trap. But before she could even drop the constitutional bomb and name the rule that would send the speaker's authority spiraling, Johnson made his biggest mistake. He tried to hit her with a low-blow insult, a personal attack meant to shame her into sitting down. It was a move so amateur and so condescending, it perfectly set up his own humiliation. Next, we reveal the exact rules she used that made him look like a total amateur, and you won't believe the low-blow insult he tried to use before she finished him. That insult was the fatal flaw that allowed Crockett to deliver the final slamming blow. Seriously, you need to see this insult to believe the political arrogance. That's coming up right now. You just saw how Speaker Johnson thought he could use his positional power to silence dissent, but his plan was about to blow up in his face. He was already furious, but when Crockett refused to sit down, when she invoked that secret rule we mentioned, Johnson completely flipped the script from parliamentary procedure to personal shame game. He leaned into the microphone, his voice dripping with condescension, and hit her with the ultimate low blow. Johnson basically implied she was too green to understand the House rules. He said, and I quote, "She was a freshman member who barely knows how to find the bathroom in this building." Think about that. The most powerful man in the House tried to put her in her place by publicly humiliating her, trying to dismiss her deep legal knowledge as mere ignorance. That was his fatal mistake, a moment of pure, unadulterated political arrogance. He thought that shame tactic would make her backtrack, maybe even start crying. He thought she'd just wave the white flag and tuck her tail. But Crockett is not the one. She's a civil rights attorney. She's faced down hostile judges and tough prosecutors for years. She was locked in and ready for the fight. Every time Johnson raised his voice, desperately trying to gavel her down and shouting, "The chair does not recognize you," Crockett stood taller, calmer, and more confident. That was the mic drop moment. When Johnson finished his frustrated rant, Crockett opened her folder. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't get emotional. She simply presented the receipts. This wasn't just a challenge. It was an ambush planned with surgical precision. She wasn't holding some partisan rant. She had the evidence, a meticulously documented list of 47 instances where Johnson had violated House rules to stifle debate. 47 times. The air got sucked right out of the room. Johnson's angry red face suddenly drained of color. He realized he was toast. This wasn't a debate he could win. It was a trial he had already lost. He tried to call it a witch hunt, but it was too late. Crockett had already proven he was the one breaking the rules he was sworn to uphold. And here's where the political earthquake hit. Johnson's own party saw the writing on the wall. They saw his authority evaporate right there on the House floor. They knew that Crockett had him dead to rights. That insult? Total rookie mistake. Because when the motion came to refer his conduct for investigation, something truly shocking happened. 15 of his own Republicans decided they couldn't stand with their shamed speaker. They broke ranks and voted against him. It was a total embarrassment, the ultimate vote of no confidence. We'll show you the specific Republican reactions that proved Congress flipped. That's next. You absolutely need to see the betrayal that sealed his fate. We left off with Speaker Johnson completely shamed, his authority evaporating right there on the House floor after Crockett delivered the constitutional slam. But the real political body blow, the moment that truly defined this as an unprecedented catastrophe, came when the vote was called. A motion was raised to refer Johnson's conduct, those 47 violations, to the House Ethics Committee. This was the official test of his authority, the ultimate political loyalty check. Johnson's team probably thought, no sweat, our guys will protect him. They were dead wrong. When the final tally flashed on the board, the silence was deafening. 15 Republicans, yes, 15 of his own party members, broke ranks and voted with the Democrats to investigate their own speaker. This wasn't just a bad vote. This was a public betrayal. It was the political equivalent of getting backstabbed by your closest allies. In the brutal world of Washington politics, nothing screams total embarrassment louder than your own team selling you out on live television. This is why we say Congress flipped. It wasn't just Crockett winning the argument. It was the rank-and-file members finally getting fed up with Johnson's shady procedural stunts. Those 15 Republicans knew that defending Johnson's rule-breaking tactics would make them look weak and complicit. That vote was the ultimate declaration. We don't trust our own leader. It was a massive, bipartisan vote of no confidence.
Johnson went into that hearing trying to silence a freshman, and he came out facing a formal ethics probe forced by his own caucus. Talk about a catastrophic political fumble. The political chatter immediately went into overdrive. You could see the senior Republicans whispering, their faces tight. The moderate wing was visibly relieved, sensing that someone had finally stood up to Johnson's tyranny. The hardline MAGA wing? They looked confused and furious, not knowing who to attack first, Crockett for the ambush or their own colleagues for the backstabbing. This moment didn't just hurt Johnson, it fractured the entire Republican Party right there on the floor. Johnson was left sitting there, completely isolated, his gavel silent and useless. But the story doesn't end with that vote. What Representative Crockett did after the vote was a masterclass in political strategy. No yelling, no taunting, no over-the-top celebration. She delivered a victory lap that was subtle, classy, and utterly brutal in its effectiveness. She proved she was playing chess while Johnson was throwing checkers. You gotta love the irony. The speaker got served by his own people. But what happened after the vote is even more crucial. We're breaking down the official statement that proved she wasn't just playing politics, she was changing the whole damn game. Her statement was the final devastating punch that left Johnson with no place to hide. Don't go anywhere. The ultimate political mic drop is up next.
The vote was done, the betrayal confirmed, and Speaker Johnson was left sitting in that chair, completely shamed by his own party. Any other politician would have immediately gone on a victory lap, hitting every cable news show to yell, "I told you so." But Representative Crockett is a class act and a far better strategist. She didn't seek the spotlight. She let the rules speak for themselves. Her move after the vote was the ultimate mic drop. She didn't attack Johnson personally. She released a calm, measured, official statement that was, quite frankly, more brutal than any angry outburst could have been. She shifted the focus from a personal spat to institutional integrity. Here's the essence of what she said. This was never about me versus the speaker. This was about ensuring that all members of Congress, regardless of seniority or party, can participate fully in the legislative process. I hope we can move forward with a commitment to fair and equal application of House rules. Think about that. She didn't call him a liar. She didn't call him a bully. She simply reminded the entire country that he failed to follow the rules, the very foundation of Congress. By keeping her statement high-minded and focused on the institution, she made Johnson's earlier low-blow insult look even more petty and desperate. She proved she wasn't just playing politics, she was genuinely trying to change the whole game. She exposed his power for what it was, fragile and built on bullying, not on the Constitution. This classy shutdown sealed his fate in the court of public opinion. She forced the national conversation to be about accountability, a word Johnson can't escape now. Her strategic calm meant that the media couldn't dismiss this as mere partisan infighting. She handed the Ethics Committee a case prepackaged with a bow on top. This masterclass in strategy immediately elevated Crockett from a freshman representative to a political force. She showed every other junior member that they don't have to sit down and shut up. They just need to know the rules better than the people trying to enforce them. That right there is why Johnson is now in a world of trouble. His opponents have the proof, and his own party has shown they are willing to break ranks. The dust is settling, but the real question is, does Mike Johnson survive? The ethics investigation is just the tip of the iceberg. He's already seen his authority weakened, and he's facing new challenges. We're looking at the two major looming threats to his speakership right now, and one of them is coming straight from his own MAGA wing, the same people who put him there. You might want to grab some popcorn, because this drama is far from over. Final analysis and the ultimate survival verdict up next. The smoke has cleared, but the political battlefield is still hot. Crockett won the battle, but is Speaker Mike Johnson doomed to lose the war? The answer is simple. His speakership is now officially a political liability. He's currently facing a two-front war, and both threats are existential. First, There's the ethics investigation. Being formally investigated by your own colleagues is a bad look, a really bad look. While these probes rarely lead to an immediate removal, the process itself is a slow, political torture. It ties up his staff, it forces him to spend time defending his conduct instead of governing, and every leak will be a media firestorm. He's no longer leading, he's merely surviving. But the second threat is the one that could truly end him, the MAGA mutiny. Remember those 15 Republicans who broke ranks? That small group shows Johnson has lost control over the moderates. But the real danger is the Freedom Caucus, the MAGA wing that gave him the gavel in the first place. They put him in power to be their uncompromising champion, not to be a speaker who gets shamed and forced into an ethics probe by a freshman Democrat. They see his humiliation as weakness, and in this political climate, weakness is a terminal disease. They're already calculating the numbers. They know they have the power to file a motion to vacate, the same nuclear option that took out the last speaker. Johnson tried to rule with an iron fist, but Crockett showed the world that his fist is brittle. Now his own allies are whispering, if he can't even stand up to a freshman Democrat, how can he stand up to the Democrats on a major funding bill? This single confrontation has turned Johnson into a lame duck speaker, and the clock is ticking on his political future. He's stuck between a moderate wing who is tired of his rule-bending and a MAGA wing that views his apology as treason. You better grab some popcorn because the infighting is about to get brutal. So is he doomed? Not today, but he's walking on thin ice, and every member of Congress now knows exactly how easy it is to take him out. Just know the rules better than him. Crockett didn't just win a debate, she gave the playbook to every junior member in Congress. That's all for today's deep dive. But hey, if you loved watching the speaker get served and the political drama unfold, you know what to do. Smash that like button. We're tracking every single MAGA threat and ethics probe development. We've got more viral political clips coming your way all week, so hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next Capitol Clash. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.